Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Subletts. Missouri, Texas. Yeah. You love me. You believe in me. You cherish me. Holding on.
Hi guys.
Hey y'all. Oh, we're cute.
We are cute.
I love
We're
this.
still trying to get this green screen thing together. It only wants me to have a little bit of hair, but that's okay.
Me too. It only wants me to have a little bit.
Well, welcome to the show. Tonight we will be discussing human sex trafficking with Rosie. She is the owner of New Horizon Coffee Company, and she's going to be telling us all about it. But before we get into that, we will start as usual with our weekly highlights.
Okay, well, weekly highlights. Let's go and get into it. I was about to start sharing, but you know how that goes. So I'm going to let her share while I give my weekly highlight.
I've already done that.
You've already done that? Okay. Well, my weekly highlight actually occurred earlier today. So on the way home, I was riding home from the side hustle. And once it was a little bit of traffic. I stopped for gas, but I know there's not a lot of traffic the way that I usually go because it's still kind of early. Excuse me. Once I was getting off of 360 on the 20, and I realized there probably was going to be a lot of traffic because it was backed up. And I was like, man, it must be an accident. And yes, it was. There was an accident. Probably somebody just tried to jut across. But that was after about 20, 25, maybe 30 minutes of being in traffic. But as I'm getting off the highway, getting on to the 20, and I look over and I'm just kind of sitting there right before George Bush, and I see this motorcycle go by. And I look and I see some old patches. So I'm like, okay, hold on. I think I know who that is. And if not, then it's somebody that I probably have been around. So I, somehow get up there and nose my way on up there. And so I'm looking and I'm like, it's one of my dad's friends. So I'm like, I know he know me as Candace. So he ends up, he didn't realize who I was until I pulled my face mask down. He's like, oh, I'm like, yeah. So we talked for like 20, 25 minutes going down the highway, going down 20 in the middle of traffic. I definitely got my riding game better. I definitely got my dexterity together because he knew me before I even started riding motorcycles. So much love and respect, and shout out to Beat Beat. Definitely glad to see him when I moved here to Dallas. He was already living here. I know him from Kansas City though. And thank you very much for talking me through the traffic today, because I was thinking in my head like, man, it's about to be a long ride home. It's gonna be boring. Just in this little bit of time or whatever. And it ended up, like I said, it was about a 20, 25 minute slowdown, maybe even 30 minutes, but that was dope. So that's my weekly highlight.
Okay. My weekly highlight actually is the progression of Meet the Subletts. I know a lot of people have probably noticed that a lot of our pages have gone from Meet the Subletts to the MTS network. So, just being able to grow and bring everything that we do together for it to make sense, not just for us, but to all of you. It's awesome to see. So, my highlight has definitely been trying to navigate this whole creating a network thing. So, it's pretty awesome. So, yeah.
Well, I'm very proud of her and all this network that she is creating. It's fun. It's great. Excuse me. It's great to see her creativity blossom into, I guess, what is it, videography and editing.
It's that is not my forte, so somebody else will be doing that at some point.
But she's still doing a good job at it. She's hitting all the bases around producing and writing and having statistics and different things. So, and preparing for a show. So I'm really proud of what she is doing, and can't wait to see how she's telling me all this stuff that we're going to do. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. As long as I can manage some projects, I'm good.
You'll have plenty of projects to
Oh,
manage. So,
sounds
well, last week our show was about wine. We did wine with Jessica for wine for a cause. Sorry. And we talked about how Texas All Female Ride partnered with One Hope Wine, and I will be dropping the link in the comments for those who still need some wine because spring break is not over, and I know them cheering is on your nerves already.
Yes.
So you definitely will be needing some wine. So last week's giveaway was actually a bottle of wine from One Hope, and you had to go in like last week's episode of Me Too Sis on YouTube, which was Meet Sinead, I believe it was. And
Yes.
we didn't have a winner, so no one got wine. Maybe we can convince Jessica to send it to us because that wine was bomb.
Yes, it was.
But so
I was lit, y'all. Ooh, it was a struggle. Thursday morning. It was a struggle, y'all. It was a struggle.
So this week's giveaway is coffee from New Horizon Coffee Company, and a little bit later,
There it goes.
it's yeah, we don't post pictures.
Yes. Okay.
So a little bit later, we will have Rosie on, and she will be telling us about her company and how they contribute. Well, they contribute to supporting victims of human sex trafficking. So, she actually was supposed to be on a little before that, but I think she got caught up in traffic because it's Wednesday.
It definitely is.
And yeah, that's why I didn't want to go anywhere. Speaking of, there
And
she
here
is. She came in right on time, didn't she?
Come on now, sis.
Hey, Rosie.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going well. I actually was just introducing you, and you cued in right on time.
Literally.
So I'm going to allow you to introduce yourself.
I was like, hey everyone, my name's Rosie and I'm the founder of New Horizon Coffee Company.
And so what does One Horizon do exactly?
So we sell specialty coffee while also making a difference. Our profits go to New Friends, New Life, and it's a nonprofit here in Dallas, Texas that helps victims of human trafficking. So they basically help them like distribute funds for education, getting a job, and helping them like with clothes and other stuff. So they're a pretty like good nonprofit to donate to.
How did you get into advocating for human sex trafficking?
So I studied social work at the University of North Texas. So that's when I actually started to learn about it. I think I forgot what class it was, but I had to write a paper about a policy, and then I had to like find out like ways to like change the policy and whatnot. And I was like, what? I didn't know that human trafficking existed. I was like, I thought that it was like a third country thing or like something that didn't exist here in the States. And I was like surprised to find out that Texas was like ranked second. And I was like, whoa, I was like, well, it kind of makes sense because Texas is so huge and like we're also closer to the border. So I was just like, oh, okay, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
So Dallas and Houston.
My hair scared me. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
I was like, what? I actually didn't know that human sex trafficking had become such a big thing. Like over the last couple of years, I've been kind of hearing about it, but like doing research for this episode, especially like all the statistics, it's mind blowing. And to think that people assume when they hear human trafficking that it's all like in sex related issues, but it's really not. Like it's in the labor sectors as well. So like
it is.
People in agriculture and things like that. It's mind blowing to know that that's happening in our own backyard, and a lot of us just have no clue.
Yeah, it's also like people exploiting other people, which is pretty sad too. I never thought about it being like trafficking as well either. And then I was just like, oh, well, they're like exploiting their work. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah,
but
stuff's scary.
I read that I read that most of the victims of trafficking are usually from other countries. They're not U.S. citizens, so a lot of times it goes like unreported because they fear being deported or being arrested, especially if they're in sex work, like
Yeah.
prostitutes or like strippers and things like that. Like they get arrested a lot of times for reporting that they've been exploited
Yeah,
or abused or something like that. So that's wild.
which is actually, yeah, it's actually a myth, because if you are a victim, you get a visa.
Oh, really?
So
I
yeah,
didn't
so if
know
you're a
that. That's
victim,
something that people should
I know a
know.
lot of people are afraid to like report it, and they probably shouldn't be, because they can get a visa, because it's something that's like pretty huge.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So like the
And how
government
do we
wants to
get
help them as well.
how
What
do
was
we
that?
get that information out? How do we get that education out about um, if you are from another country and you are being, brought here or whatever the case may be? How do we get that out? Like, does the nonprofit you work with is that what they educate about?
Yeah, there's a lot of nonprofits too that educate others. It's just it's not very talked about, and I feel like it's because it's a very uncomfortable topic to talk about, and not many people like want to hear stuff like that. But I think it's just like talking about it to like your friends, like through like casual conversation, and just like telling people like, hey, like don't get involved in it like directly. Like if you know that if someone's getting like trafficked, like
Right.
don't get involved in it like there, but maybe like tip the hotline, and it'll like probably like help, or like
That's right.
there's
Actually,
units
have
that
a
are like
program.
helping investigate. So I think like as long as you like tip the hotline, like it's going to be on the radar, because they look at that stuff pretty
Okay.
seriously.
Yeah,
Yeah, so just talking about it.
a lot of the research that I actually was reading about this was on the PolarisProject.org, which is going across the banner. And I also listed the hotline number and the number you can text if you need to
Yeah,
report.
there's a number you can text too.
So it's good to, I think the more that people bring awareness to it and just kind of share information about it, it definitely will help, because knowing the signs and knowing what to look for, or, what conversations need to be had, can
Mhm.
definitely probably save someone's life.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I read I read in a couple of places actually. There are a lot of countries that actually have decriminalized sex work for this reason, to be able to root out, organized crime, and to limit human trafficking, and also to make it to where people who are doing that kind of work, if it's consensual, you shouldn't be, persecuted, or you shouldn't be, judged or whatever, if that's what you're choosing to do. But a lot of the victims, especially in the sector of trafficking, they tend to they're the ones that get arrested, and not the people who are actually exploiting them. So they have a hard time like reporting it, because they
Mm-hmm.
know that they're going to be the ones that end up getting arrested. And I think
Yeah.
that's
And
why.
sometimes it's also hard to like relive it. So I think some people like don't want to
Yeah.
go through that whole process either. Especially
Yeah,
like the younger children, like they don't want to like relive it and relive that trauma.
Yeah.
So I think it's also like really hard for them to come out. But
yeah.
but the work that some of the like the nonprofits are doing is pretty amazing. I feel like it's definitely growing, and they're getting more help, and it's becoming a little bit more talked about.
Right. So how do you feel about
And I
decriminalizing?
think one of like the
I was saying, how do you feel about
I like it
decriminalizing?
because
Oh, go
I
ahead.
like it because they get help, and like they also feel like more safe to come out.
Okay.
But it's also like it's also really scary for like the victims too, because the people who like held them hostage like have manipulated them so badly. So
Mm-hmm.
what these nonprofits do, it's pretty amazing, because they go through this system where they have to get like a bunch of therapy, and it's so expensive.
Yeah.
And also like
Yeah.
they also get branded, and they just like go through a lot of health issues as well. So they also need like more funding for that stuff too.
Oh.
Hmm.
So yeah. So like
Nice.
knowing the science is pretty good too. And where
Yeah.
human trafficking happens the most is like at hotels, massage parlors, near schools, some hospitals as well. Yeah, and
Why do you think near schools?
because that's where like creeps like to look at little children who are vulnerable, like probably like walking from school, or like they keep an eye for like smaller children.
Yeah.
Oh, and also homeless shelters, because they're like the most vulnerable at the homeless shelter too.
Yeah.
So that's where like they stick the most.
I read somewhere that people of color and people of the LGBTQIA community are the most susceptible to being human trafficked than any other demographic. So I thought that's
Yeah.
kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And why do you think that
Yeah,
is?
it's pretty
Because
sad because
they're
you
the
know
most
like a lot of parents. Yeah, because a lot of parents kick out their children when they find out that they're like not straight,
yeah.
and they kick them out. So they're like roaming the streets by themselves. And like when
Yeah.
some stranger comes up to you and they're like, "Hey, little kid, like I can give you whatever you want. Like you don't have to worry about it." And like it always starts off nice. It's like a manipulation
Yeah.
tactic. Like they're obviously going to start off nice and they're going to be like gain your trust, and then like as soon as like you have their trust, they're going to start like this manipulation game.
Yes.
They're going to be like, "Oh, well, like I did all this for you, so now you have to do this. Like it's for your own benefit." And at that point, like they're already kind of like sucked in. So it's like really hard to get back out. And I think only like 1% of the people actually get rescued. So it's pretty sad.
It is sad. If
Yeah.
you're just tuning in with us, we have the owner of New Horizon Coffee Company, and this is Rosie. Today we are talking about human trafficking. Some of the profits goes towards proceeds in support of human trafficking awareness, education, and to particular nonprofits that support survivors or those who want to come out of that particular situation. So I just wanted to recap and let everybody know who you are and what we're talking about and why we're talking about human trafficking. One of the we're bikers, and so a lot of people, and I'll say a lot of people, to me, more than two people is a lot of people. A lot of people have been talking about it at least over the last couple of years because there is a rise in human trafficking. I know we were having some conversation. There goes one of them. And so I know for me personally, I haven't done too much research into it, but just raising the awareness and being aware. I know that there's a thing going around right now on Facebook. Kids are being texted a certain message, and my niece, she's 10 years old, she received a text message last week. She opened it up because it looked like one of her friend's moms, and they had said, I think, what did my mom say? It was like porno or something? Like it was like a
picture
nude
of
picture.
whoever the lady is.
Yeah, and it scared her. Like she started crying because she didn't know what it was from. Like she thought it was one of her friend's moms. And then I think it was a couple of days later, you had sent me a message saying that was a way that they were using it to be able to track people. And so that's how they were getting new people, by kids responding to those text messages.
Yeah.
So to get your phone number changed, to do these different things. But yeah, we definitely, like my nephew, he went out earlier. And so I'm just always telling him to just be mindful, just, pay attention, understand, what's going on right now. He's 16 years old. But yeah, so I think it's a really big deal.
Yeah.
I think we really do need to talk about it. I know we were talking about as far as like sex work in other countries being legalized to minimize the human trafficking issue, especially for people that are brought in between different countries. I know, what was one of the statistics you said that sex workers could have received, what was it, unemployment benefits?
Oh, so in New Zealand they have the I believe it's called the blank drawn, the Prostitution Reform Act. It came into effect in 2003, which legalized sex work, and it made it illegal for anyone under the age of 18 to be solicited or whatever the case may be. But because they have regulated sex work, when COVID hit, the sex workers were able to get unemployment, so, and they were able to get access to health care. And since they brought that act into effect, there haven't been any reports of sex trafficking in New Zealand. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So
Okay. I thought that was interesting too. Like I never thought
That
about.
is interesting.
I know, right? I never thought in other countries. I guess they say you said the United States is the only one of the only countries where not the only, but one of the only countries that does not legalize sex workers.
yeah,
So I know that's always an
Yeah, that
uncomfortable
is interesting.
conversation, right? It's always an uncomfortable conversation, but being in a country where you are able to be free and to express your right to speech and your right to bear arms and all these things, but when it comes to sex, it's always taboo. So understanding the difference between sexual abuse, obviously with a child, to me, period, point blank, that's never anything to do. But I know grown women who are sexually assaulted all the time. And so understanding that we as women have to protect ourselves, but like you said, the vulnerable, they have to protect themselves as well from being taken or being exploited in some way. I think what really opened my eyes to it was actually one of the our guests, excuse me, one of our viewers that commented. She reminded me that this goes on in our country, like people just like you and I, or you and I, and this can happen to us.
hmm
And it's a very real issue, and
Yeah.
people don't talk about it. Like women could be going to work and coming home and really live in a situation at home where someone is manipulating and controlling them. And this is like, so that's one of the things I think we really have to get
Yeah.
to at some point, being comfortable talking about and identifying what is sex work and what is human trafficking. I know for me, I'm always, because I don't have any knowledge of it, I
Yeah.
automatically assumed it was all the same.
But if you decriminalize sex work, think about all the prostitutes that wouldn't have to be out on the street, but secretly trying to make money without getting caught to feed their family or whatever. There would be an establishment for them to be
Safe.
supervised, where there are rules and regulations of what can and can't go on, and they can still provide for their families, and they're safe. If
And
something
they're not being
happens,
taken
they can
advantage of.
report it, and they don't have to fear about being the repercussions of reporting it. Like, criminalize it could save a lot of people's lives. Because a lot of times there are some people who do sex work because they purely enjoy it.
Yeah.
Some people do it because they have to. Some people
Yeah.
do it because they're being forced to. But how can you know the difference if they just lump it all together and say that it's all wrong?
Right. So, like I said, for me, it's just
Yeah.
more so
Well, sex
education.
trafficking is a little bit more complex.
Yes. And that's why I say, I know for me, I had to be educated more. I have to understand more, what's going on. But
Yeah.
just being mindful of people that, like I said, it just like a lot of people smile every day, but they're super depressed. Being able to, like you said, not really get
Mhm.
involved in the situation because that is a safety issue, but being able to identify and understand, okay, you know what, this really is a problem, and how do we address this problem?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's a pretty huge problem. Just staying
yes,
aware.
yeah,
Staying
exactly.
aware
Like
about the
not even
signs.
being.
Like, I mean, if someone like,
Go ahead.
oh, sorry, what was that?
No, go ahead.
Sorry, you cut off a bit. What was that? Oh,
No,
I was
I
just
was.
saying, just staying aware about the signs. Like, oh, sorry, you keep cutting each other off.
Well, you go first.
Okay. So staying aware of the signs and just making sure that you know like what you're looking for, but not also like getting directly involved. So a lot of people like they probably won't make eye contact or they look very uncomfortable. Like we probably see them at the gas station all the time. So I don't know, you'll probably like notice someone who looks like super skinny or malnourished or has bruises or looks very nervous or like they're with like an older person, and you can kind of like tell, you can kind of like pinpoint like who's there against their own will.
Oh wow.
Like if there's like a man talking over someone or like making the decisions for them, then you know that person's like there with the pimp or like someone who's like trafficking them.
Hmm.
So just like staying aware about that information too, it helps.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And that's interesting. I was actually going to ask you to give us some tips on what to look for. So thank you very much for that information. Because like I said, this is something that
Yeah.
I'm trying to be educated on and understand as well. All right. So
Well, I think
Yeah.
that's all the questions that we
There-
really had for you. I really appreciate you being a part of the show. Do you you want to talk about your coffees?
yes.
Oh, my bad. She wants to talk about your coffees.
Okay. So I did not open the coffee till right before the show.
Okay.
You told me to prepare, and I did not. So we need a coffee grinder. This smells wonderful. So I have two, and like I said, I'm gonna take some pictures.
Yeah, it ain't gonna work.
It ain't gonna work. Okay.
Yes.
I
Take
have
pictures.
two
Please tag
bags,
us.
and I'm so excited because I actually love Guatemalan coffee. So I'm a little excited. It's got some robustness to it. I love coffee. So I am going to figure out how to get this ground up. And I think I could probably we have a grinder. And I'm going to take it to work. And I'm going to provide some to my colleagues.
Yes.
And I want them to see what it tastes like. And I want their opinions because they're definitely coffee drinkers. Because we're up at the very ass crack of dawn.
Yes, let me know.
Okay, I will do that. So I might even try
Yes,
to
freshly roasted coffee.
Say it again.
I was like, it's freshly roasted.
Yes, and it smells so wonderful.
Like we freshly roast all of our coffee.
Oh wow.
You do?
It's like I'm glad.
Okay.
Yeah, our coffee is roast to order. So anytime anyone orders it, we roast it before we ship it out to them.
Okay.
Okay.
That's why it smells so good.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
before you
It's
go,
supposed to also keep like the coffee.
Okay.
It's supposed to keep the coffee more fresh. So it's like after 30 days, I think that's when it starts going kind of bland. But like I think that's like why the grocery store coffee doesn't taste as good either, because it's like been there for a while.
Okay. 30 days. Okay. Thank you for that tip. It's definitely gonna be gone probably by the middle of next week. So we'll definitely have an update for y'all next week. Just saying.
Well, before you go, tell everyone where they can find Horizon Coffee.
So you can go to www.newhorizoncoffee.com, and you can also follow us on Instagram at New Horizon Coffee.
Okay.
And if you subscribe, you can save 15%.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So subscribe for the coffee beans.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of the show, Rosie.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
All right.
All right. So what do we have for next week?
Well, our guest next week, her name is Shantanae, and she is the owner of Blue Icy. She is also a rapper, so I'm pretty interested to have her on the show and just kind of talk about how she got into body scrubs and hip hop.
Okay. So body scrubs. Okay. So
that is the giveaway for next week. Actually, she's giving away some scrubs. So, also every Tuesday we release a new episode of Me Too Sis on our YouTube channel, which is now the MTS Network, not Meet the Subletts. So if you go in there and type Meet the Subletts, it probably won't come up, but it is the MTS Network.
Okay.
And what do you have coming up next week?
I don't know. Oh, okay. I'm about to say, I don't know what I have next week. What do I have next week? Oh, we might not do what push it off.
Oh, find time for you to tell me.
I know, because I'm trying to, because there's something I haven't decided on yet. Okay, so we are trying to get For the Record started. So I am so excited. I know, Thundercat girl, I just don't be giving the producer the updates. And I apologize. She's gonna cuss me out when we end this show. And we definitely had a meeting beforehand. Definitely did not mention that because we didn't get to, yeah. But for the record, it is politics. We are talking about all things politics, current affairs, all things biker, all things LGBTQIA plus, all things black people, brown people, all things what she said.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
We coming to see you this weekend too, Thundercat. We'll be in the area, and then all things women. So y'all know we are have a supportive network to be able to encourage and empower women and Black people, Hispanic people, white people, whatever. But we really want to encourage women with MTS Network. So I know that I've only been given updates and asking what I think about things. But thank you very much to my wife for really trying to take our business to the next level with our influencing, with our graphic design. Because like I said, she wanted to get away from it, and all things graphic design definitely are coming her way. So, and then with event planning as well. So I'm excited about these things that we have coming up. Ready, definitely. Where are we going next? Where are we going soon? Well, we're going to go see Thundercat and Colleen this weekend. So I'll go hang out, ride the bikes a little bit, come back home. I feel like we're going to Houston next weekend.
We are.
I
have a photo shoot next weekend too, so hopefully we'll be back in time for that.
On Sunday?
Yes.
At what time?
It's on the calendar.
It's on the calendar. Let's see what time it is.
I'm just saying it's been on the calendar.
Right. And we definitely next Sunday. You talking about the 27th?
Sure, that's today.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
We'll be in Houston. Remember I told you the thing.
That was scheduled before you decided we were going to Houston. Sugarfoot.
Well, you can try. You can come back then. Okay, well, we'll figure out our schedule in Flupa. I know it's Flupa, but I'm saying Flupa. What else do we have coming up after that? April. Y'all keep Mama Sublet in y'all prayers. She is having ankle surgery on April 1st.
Keep me in your prayers.
Don't do my mama.
Keep me in your prayers, because that means I'm going to be stuck with her every day.
Just for
we have a very hilarious relationship. So y'all be prepared for all that content that's going to come, because it's definitely coming. Sorry in advance, Mom.
Whatever. She's been telling her that for 3 weeks since we found out when the appointment is. And it's funny because she got her appointment, and like the next week I got a side hustle. So I know y'all like, what the heck is Taboo talking about a side hustle? I went and got a job to fund the next parts of our business. So as long as I'm
the MTSN.
Yeah, and Cosmic Snacks soon to come. We got some encouragement from one of the guys on the set, one of the OGs on the set. He encouraged us because we were telling him we wanted to, get a restaurant. Look at shit, my mom said it's gonna be fun. We wanted to get a restaurant, a brick and mortar, and I know my wife wanted that last year. And like I told her, let's get out there, let's see, do some market
research. It's definitely changed. It's changed in direction, so it's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm excited about this brick and mortar.
Yeah, I can't wait to tell you about all the things that I want this brick and mortar to be.
Tell who?
You.
The people?
You.
That is definitely... Yeah, definitely not.
Yeah.
What was a part of the original
plan? Oh, it is. It was. It's all the same.
Okay, and when did these things change?
Well, guess when you show up to a meeting on time, you'll know.
Show up to a meeting on time. What meeting? I ain't had no Cosmic Snacks meeting.
We had one yesterday, but you went to sleep. Remember?
I went to sleep? Yeah, I did, because I'm tired. I'm tired now. Side hustle's wearing me out, but it is daylight savings. Why daylight savings?
You done been on this earth for 40 years. And you still
I ain't used to it. I am not. This is my 40th go round. I am not used to it yet. The spring is the BS. My mom on here, so I'm going to try not to cuss as much. But damn it, daylight savings is tearing my behind up. I just knew it was going to be bright this morning. I just knew.
And it was not.
Man, it was not. And I needed the sun to beat in my face because I've been riding my bike to the side hustle. Man, I done out motorcycled the one man on the other side of my desk. So he kind of been looking at me crazy. But hey, you do what you got to do if you want to get around. So that's how I look at it. All right, anything else? I'm so tired.
I know. Because you keep talking.
I keep talking. No, I keep talking.
Well, before we end this wonderful show, I would like to tell you guys how to get entered into this week's giveaway again, because I said it at the beginning of the show.
Yes, you did.
But now that we're at the end, I'm going to tell you just one more time. You have to join the MTS Network group on Facebook.
Okay.
That is how you get entered into this week's giveaway to win coffee. They still can't see it, baby.
Coffee, baby.
You still gonna keep trying that.
There you go.
Because the bag is green.
There you go. No, yep. That's the label,
Oh,
y'all.
Lord.
Coffee, baby.
Well, that's it, y'all. That's the show. We're
Yes.
gonna see y'all next week with Antoinette. So
Blue
tune in
Icy,
next
baby.
week at 7.
That's gonna be cool.